here with Cristina Guerrero. My name is Alma Corazon, and we are
Hi,
talking about how to boost our immune system. We're trying to get ready for the winter. Cristina and I started working together, and there's so many things that we want to share with you today. So I'm not sure how do you want to start, Christina. We were just talking about resting. We're having a blast. We're like, okay, can we go live and share our lives and everything with everybody? And it was hard for me because I started crying. I'm like, oh my god, like I need to put together to start live and be more serious. So I let you start with from whatever you feel it's more appropriate, Christina.
cool. No worries. Hi, guys. So I think it's a nice idea to continue our talk. Actually, it's really important, to love. Loving is really, really, really
Yes.
a super powerful, a super powerful tool. And for some people, it's
Good job.
yeah. Some people, they believe that our mood or our thoughts, they don't interfere with our biology, but that's completely wrong
Yeah.
because absolutely, and the way that you control your thoughts, if you have joy during your day, if you express gratitude, those feelings, those thoughts, if you want to, that behavior, if you want to say that in with those words, those can interfere with the chemicals in our brain, and
Mm-hmm.
of course that triggers also a better immune response. So I would say that actually laughing is a really nice tool that we can start spreading, from today, because it's free, it's accessible, and there are actually, and that there are loads of therapists that they are doing love therapy, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
really.
I know
Mhm,
a few facilitators. I was
mhm,
actually I joined. I couldn't really join, but I intend to join a laugh therapy of a
uh-huh.
person that is located in the West Coast, and he was said that I couldn't. And gonna try again on I believe it's next week. So I'm like, I'm gonna be very good at it. I mean, I love to laugh. I have an easy laugh. And I'm probably gonna learn one or two things. But definitely laugh therapy, I think, is becoming more common. And
Yeah,
perhaps we can actually do a live with her and bring her over and see what she can add to the equation.
that would be great, to be honest. I'm really interested in those things, because in the end, what important is that you are relaxing your body, and you are turning your nervous system. You remember in the last talk, we were talking about nervous system, and we said that, for instance, we have two branches of the nervous system. We have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So when we are under a lot of stress, when we are dealing, for instance, with a situation like COVID is, that many people have lost their jobs, there are others that are struggling with disease and stuff. It's a really tough situation for everyone, So we are in this continuous mode of, we are in tension. Our sympathetic mode is on, so we need to calm down. And love, it's actually a way to put your nervous system down, to calm yourself down, to relax yourself.
So
And
let me ask you
when
this.
you, yeah, of course.
What are the hormones? What's the chemical reaction inside of us when we are so stressed, and what's the impact on the immune system? Because for me, I realized as I've been managing my health, especially since the past, I don't know, 15 years, I know that when
Mm-hmm.
I'm stressed, I get, I mean, more tired, of course. My hair gets worse, my nails start breaking, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
always wondering, like, all right, so what's going on here inside? Like, hey, let's get it together right now. Because
Yeah.
omni and like meditation is not enough. And I feel
Mm-mm.
like you have so many things to share in terms of nutritional habits.
Yeah, that's
Still.
that's a super good question, Hamu. Actually, inside, when the stress response is triggered, you know that you start producing cortisol, which is a stress hormone, cortisol and adrenaline. And those hormones, they are actually anti-inflammatory. So they help us protect from the external world, because when we, if you look at the ancestral and evolutionary way of your immunity, of your stress response as well, you use it when you were under stress, when you were under a threat. For instance, when somebody was attacking you and you have to run, so then your body needed to put in place a physical response, and that physical response is translated through the secretion of cortisol, because when you produce cortisol, then you will experience some physical symptoms. For instance, your heart will pump faster, and that has a meaning. It's because you need to run to face a menace. You will need to probably run, and then your heart needs to pump faster because you need to move your oxygen through your veins, in order to have enough supply, enough fuel to activate your muscles, for instance. But that also means that you will have more fuel, because inside, when you are producing cortisol, your cortisol is also telling your liver to produce glucose, because you need fuel, because you need to run. So you are producing more fuel via
That's what
this
gets interesting
cortisol
for me. I'm
secretion.
like, aha. Now for the
Uh-huh.
polycystic, women like myself, we're pretty screwed if we're like in fight or flight all the time, right?
Exactly. That's why when you are under stress, you are like more prone to do stuff, because it's like you have a surge of energy, and that urge to start doing things, because actually you have more fuel in your veins. You have glucose. Your body is able to convert glucose from your storage, and that is really important. And we will be talking about the repercussion of this on a metabolic way. But for now, let's focus on immunity. So what I was explaining was that there are a series of physical things that happen when you are pumping cortisol, when you are under stress, and how this relates to immunity. So, for instance, when you cut your finger, that is also a trigger for a stress response. You have cut your finger, and what you have to do? So your body will react by calling the immune system to try to stop the bleeding, because otherwise that would mean that you would die. So by this mechanism, your immunity will help you to survive. And the mechanism involved is actually an anti-inflammatory thing. So your stress messenger, let's say, because I don't want to complicate this a lot, but if you don't follow me, please just let me
I
know,
do, I
because
do,
I'm
I
trying to
do.
make my
Like now I need to pay attention to the inflammatory. I'm like, oh, all
exactly.
right.
There are a lot of things. So please, if you don't follow me, just stop me. So what happens is that our cortisol will communicate with the immune system and will tell, hey, listen, we need agents here. We need somebody here to stop the bleeding. So it will call immune system cells. In this case, they will be cytokines and stuff like that. So they will come here and they will say, all right, there is something here that needs to be fixed. So let's fix it. And then platelets and stuff will come to the cut and they will fix it. And in order for you to don't freak out and don't collapse, let's say, what will happen? So what will happen is that your immunity as well, your immune system will say, all right, so we need that this person is a little bit less sensitive to pain. And that is also a signal that cortisol and stress response can trigger from the immune system. That is another mechanism that links both systems. So maybe when you are under stress, you are less sensitive to pain. And that makes a lot of sense, because when you are under stress, you need to face the threat, the menace.
Yeah.
And you don't have time to say, hey, for instance, you are running, like, I don't know, I'm going to say the typical example. So there is a lion running behind you.
But
That
you're
is a
running
lie.
to catch the bus. You're running to catch the bus.
Exactly.
You don't want to wait for the line for the next bus to come, and you're running really hard, and you twist your ankle, and it doesn't hurt. I mean, you feel it, but it doesn't really hurt at the moment. But then after
Exactly.
an hour, you're like, oh my gosh, what is this? Right?
That's it, exactly. Or when you are playing soccer or something, and you are in the middle of the mist, like you are super excited, you are doing whatever, and then it's like, oh, but then you forget about it. And when you get home, it's like your ankle is like this or your knee is like this. It's super inflamed. It's so achy, but that's aching later. It's not aching in the moment because of the immune response that has been triggered by the nervous system in this case, and cortisol and the adrenal system. So that is really important, because when we are dealing with a chronic stressor, when we are constantly under stress, our immune system can be, let's say, it can be silenced because it's constantly bombarded. So after a while, your immune system is saying, okay, you are constantly calling me, and actually I don't see here any menace, I don't see any cut, I don't see anything like this, there is no physical symptom, there is no physical menace. The menaces are thoughts, they are fears, they are deadlines that we cannot reach, stuff like that. So your immune system says, we are wasting resources here, we cannot deal with this, and that has a cost, because whenever our adrenal system calls the immune system, that is not free for the body. Our body needs proteins to create those signals.
This is
Oh,
so interesting, Christina, because this is goes back to people who are dealing with anxiety in their relationships, people that are now dealing with a lot of anxiety through COVID, and people who are having immunology, challenges like lupus or any other that get a lot of inflammation in their body, and it's pretty much triggered by their emotions
yeah,
because
yeah.
of the
There is a
fight or
huge
flight.
connection. Yeah, huge connection with emotions, with trauma,
Mm-hmm.
with whatever thing that can push our nervous system into a sympathetic mode activation. And that's huge. And actually, the problem is that we don't understand the cost that that has for our body. In terms of vitamins, energy, in order to create a healthy adrenal response and a healthy nervous system response, that has a huge cost in energy. So we are wasting a lot of energy, and we need a lot of vitamins, for instance, vitamin C, B vitamins, and antioxidants, and they are essential for immunity. If we are constantly depleting those nutrients, because we are constantly recalling the same mechanism, we are constantly creating that nervous system's response and the production of more cortisol, then we are depleting those vitamins. And that means that we won't have enough resources for the other systems. So in this case, our immune system is going to be, it's going to be affected. Our hormonal system, of course, is going to be affected. That's why, for instance, when we are under stress, our sex hormones production is going to be compromised. That makes total sense, and we will cover that as well in the future. Liver would be completely compromised as well, because the liver is the one that is in charge of be dealing with all those mechanisms. And when cortisol is produced, then the liver is the one that is dealing with the demands of cortisol. So if cortisol is asking for glucose, the liver is the one that is producing the glucose. If cortisol is asking for whatever, the liver is the one that is in charge of
This is
that.
so interesting. That's why lately, like I've been listening a lot, the importance of our liver, and it's not just that somebody needs to stop drinking alcohol or eating less fatty food. It's actually also triggered by our emotions and the way
Yeah.
we think, the way we see life, right? And we approach things.
Exactly. Everything is processed in the liver. Think about the liver like the factory of the body. So whenever you are dealing with something that it doesn't belong to the liver, to the body, sorry, the liver is the one that is going to deal with that issue in the first instance. So if we are dealing with some toxic, the liver is the one that is handling those. If we are liver with some hormonal disorder, the liver is the one that is in charge of those things. If we are dealing with, yep.
Could we say the liver is kind of our second brain?
I wouldn't say so. That it's more the gut. The gut is the one that it's linked to the brain. And if you want, we can talk a little bit more about that. I would say that the liver is the main, let's say, factor. I like the word factor because it's actually a factory, because it produces a lot of things. And it also helps to detoxify stuff. It also helped to pack stuff to get rid of those things. So whatever thing happens, whatever thing in a biological way, let's say, it happens in the liver. And then through the emotions, we are more connected to the gut. That's how, that's the way that we normally say that, the gut is the second brain. It does total sense because in the gut we can actually produce neurotransmitters like GABA or serotonin, that they are neurotransmitters that are in charge of well-being feelings, and produce a healthy response to, let's say, resilience. They are in charge of resilience as well, and happiness, and feelings of well-being, of also to feeling thankful for stuff, and
which is
feel calm.
very important for the immune system as well, like to have that in check.
A
Okay,
hundred
so now
percent.
we're talking about the gut. We're talking about the liver. What
Mhm.
other parts of us we need to have in check, or we could discuss? This is like getting like I'm getting everything out of the closet.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
loving
This is like a puzzle. Yeah, that's
it.
this is the best of anatomy and biology. That everything is connected. That this is what makes me feel so passionate about human body. Because it's absolutely fantastic. Everything is connected, and I like that you like. Yeah, in order to have also immunity, we need to look at our skin, for instance. Our skin is also a barrier. It's actually one of we have. And you know that through the skin, we can have a lot of pathogens, bacteria, viruses. We are exposed to the external world through our skin. So we need to look after our skin, to check that our skin is nourished. So there are some foods that they are essential to keep our skin at good health. For instance, omega 3s. We talked a little bit about them in the last video. Omega 3s are special kinds of body no, fatty acids,
Hmm.
and they are anti-inflammatory. It's key as well when we are talking about immunity. That means that they help to produce a healthy inflammatory response, and we have talked about that before. So those are really important for immunity because they help buffering the immune response. Especially nowadays that we are exposed to loads of toxins, we are dealing with junk food, loads of sugar, alcohol, etc. We have internal inflammation, chronic inflammation, and we are lacking actually anti-inflammatory stuff through our diet. So eating enough omega 3s, they definitely can help, and they are also part of the skin barrier. That's what they are so
Let me ask,
important.
well, in addition to fish, what other foods have good omega 3 that we can consume?
Trees in fish, oily fish, not white
Mhm.
fish. It has to be oily fish like mackerel, salmon, etc. And then you also have omega 3s in some plant sources like flax seeds or linseeds, I think they are called in America. And then you also have omegas in chia seeds, walnuts as well. Yeah,
I love chia seed. So I'm like,
they
now
are
I'm gonna
great.
have binge on
Yeah,
that.
I see that you're very excited. Yeah, they are great. They are a great source. And walnuts are really great as well. And then there are traces of omega 3s in other sources, some oils and some stuff like that. But the main sources are oily fish and those ones. And then there is also another type of omega 6 in this case of essential fatty acid, but that's pretty easy to find in most of plant-based sources nowadays, especially oils. Those are omega 6. They are not that important.
Omega
They
6.
were in the past. Omega 6. Mhm.
Okay, we're gonna disclose everybody that we're seeing Christina on and off and a little pixelated because there's a
Oh,
huge storm going on in Dublin.
yeah,
So she's
in the
pulling her
whole
headset
island.
together. But and I do hear you, but I know you're having some lag on your end.
Oh, I'm so sorry for that, guys.
No, don't be sorry. I just want people to know. Oh, now you're back.
Uh,
Here we go.
Storm Barra.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to Google it, yeah, we've been under a red warning today in the whole island. So
Well,
yeah,
we're
so
thankful that you're here.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know what was the last part that I said. I'm sorry.
Oil. The oil six? Of
Yeah,
which type of oil?
omega-6. Yeah, exactly.
Omega.
Omega-6. So we have two different kinds of essential fatty acids. We have omega-3s and omega-6, and they
Okay.
need to be balanced. And we nowadays we are lacking omega-3s, that they are anti-inflammatory, and we have plenty of omega-6, that they are as well anti-inflammatory, but it's very uncommon that we have deficiencies of omega-6 because they are really, really common, especially nowadays, because they are mainly contained in oils, in vegetable oils, like soya, canola, sunflower, etc. Those any oil that you can use, especially for frying and for processed stuff, they contain omega-6. Exactly. So it's very easy today to find people that they have really high omega-6 levels versus omega-3. And that's really bad because that promotes inflammation. That could be the opposite. We need to have them balanced. And if we have a little bit more of omega-3s, that is even better because omega-3s are anti-inflammatory
So
versus
let me ask you,
omega-6.
how much chia one has to eat to be able to feel like I'm giving it to
A
my
lot. A lot. Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, the thing is, if you eat fish,
yeah.
then you will be able to cover your omega-3 daily dose or recommended daily dose just by eating 3 portions of oily fish a week. If you are plant-based,
Oh wait, wow.
if you follow a plant-based diet, then my recommendation would be to mix, to combine different sources, because that way you will have more chances to get the whole
Mhm.
amount of omega-3s that you would need. So maybe I wouldn't rely only on chia seeds because you will need a lot of chia seeds, but maybe you can combine them with some walnuts. They have as well omega-3s. As I said, like maybe you can get flaxseed oil, or the seeds that you can ground or melt, and then you can have it with your porridge or whatever. And that could be an easier way to get your recommended dose. Otherwise, it could be a little bit hard.
Okay,
You could
well,
try.
so let me ask you something. We're talking about like if you get cut and how our immune system reacts, and I love the technical aspect of it. And I want to ask you like three major functions of the immune system.
Major
What are the
function of
three?
the immune system is to protect us.
Mm-hmm.
That is the main one. So the immune system, whenever the immune system recognizes something as a strange
Mm-hmm.
or invader or dangerous, it's going to be activated. And this is an important thing to note. Same to be dangerous or to be perceived
Mm-hmm.
as dangerous or to recognized as an invader. Because autoimmunity, for instance, is an overreaction from our immune system. Our immune system is overreacting to something that is not dangerous for the most part of the population. So
Mm-hmm.
it's when somebody's immune system is overreacting to something that in normal conditions wouldn't be unsafe, could be perfectly safe. Okay, and that would be an autoimmune response. Is that my immune system is attacking some parts of my body that they shouldn't be attacked because they are safe. And that is important. That distinction is important to cover, because our immune system sometimes, especially nowadays that we are facing a lot of menaces, our immune system can get confused because our diets are not the diets that our bodies are expecting. We are exposed to loads of new toxins and chemicals that our immune system doesn't even recognize. So our immune system is constantly adapting and evolving, and it's really flexible, and it's doing its best. I don't recognize this, so I'm gonna label it as possibly dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have a lot of things that are possibly dangerous, then our immune system is wasting a lot of resources in defending us from those perceived dangerous stuff, and then it can overreact. With time, over time, it can overreact and says, "All right, there are too many things that I don't recognize as safe. Something is wrong here. I'm going to attack." Okay, and then its
And when you
immune
smell
system is going.
And when you say it's gonna attack, it can attack anywhere in our body, really.
Exactly. So it can attack maybe our thyroid gland, and then we will have Hashimoto thyroiditis. It can attack our joints, and then we will have rheumatoid arthritis, whatever. It can attack any mucosal part, and then we will have eczema or psoriasis, whatever. The immune system can get completely confused and then attacks. And that is something, as I said, that is really important to note, because if we know that our immune system is overreacting, then the solution would be to try to control the triggers. So if our food is creating or is creating this overreaction, then it would be good to try to control our diet. And same story with all the, with the rest of factors. So in here, information is power. And we need to realize what are the factors, lifestyle factors or dietary factors, that can affect our immune system. And this is important as well. And if you want, we can cover this, because there are a lot of things that we can do, not only on a dietary level, but also with our lifestyle that we've said, for instance, love therapy, that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exercise is
Yeah.
another immune, exactly, it's another immune buffer. um, Meditation is really great for immunity as well. It's really, really great because it calms down our nervous system. It puts
Mm-hmm.
us again in a parasympathetic mode, so we cut the cortisol production, and then our body can have time to heal and to relax. um, what else? Of course,
Care,
controlling. Say that again. Sorry.
self care, giving you to oneself, self care practices.
100%.
Good.
Yeah, yeah.
Good
Journaling,
exercise.
uh, massaging, looking after
Taking a
your skin.
bath.
So having, there
Yes.
you are. Exactly. Having a nice bath, having a whatever, going to cut your hair, whatever, like anything that it's connecting, it's making you connect with yourself, that is going to relax the immune response. And then, of course, from a dietary perspective, we can control our diet, try to boost anti-inflammatory stuff, things, foods, sorry, that contains vitamin C, antioxidants. They are essential for immunity, omega-3s, fatty acids, vitamin A, vitamin D. They are really important for skin and for the gut as well. Like when we have leaky gut, when we have leaky gut, that means that our gut, it's permeable, and it shouldn't be. Our gut should be like the skin. If the skin is broken, then invasors, bacterial and viruses and stuff from the outside can get inside, and that will trigger an immune response. Same story happens within our gut. If our gut is broken, it's permeable, then pathogens, viruses, bacteria, chemical things that they shouldn't get in, they are going to leak through the gut. And that is, again, triggering an immune response. Our immune system will recognize those things are dangerous or potentially dangerous. They don't have to be dangerous, but potentially dangerous. And then it will mount an attack. And it's also important to say that whenever the immune system is mounting an attack, whenever it's activated, again, that's not free. Just like the adrenal system, when it's pumping out cortisol, cost energy to the body and vitamins and stuff, same story happens with our immunity. Whenever we have an immune reaction or an immune activation, that costs energy. Our body needs a lot of energy to mobilize and to produce proteins, cytokines. It also needs to create, for instance, antibodies, enzymes. Those things have a cost because we need to create them within the cell. And to create those things also requires loads of cofactors. Cofactors are nutrients that help in the production of those things. For instance, magnesium, zinc, selenium, those are minerals that are essential to produce enough immune cells to help us defend from the exterior, from invasors or whatever. So it's not only about vitamin C and antioxidants, it's also about nutrition from the food, minerals, you know.
Yeah, it was
It's
interesting.
fascinating.
The things that we can heal organically with the things that we put in our mouth, and also like well, just that this is well. Tell me how it's related. Maybe it's not related, but yesterday you were telling me about bronze and chrome. When we have a deficit on that on those minerals, that we could have more cravings of sweet things. And
Mhm.
you blew my mind. I'm like, wow, like these things are really. Now I'm gonna start looking. We're gonna get these things.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, think about this in nutrition. We tend to go for the reductionist approach. It's like nutrition, calories, that's it, or proteins, that's it, and we don't care about any other thing. That's a huge mistake. In nutrition, just like in the body, everything is interconnected, and everything is important. You don't have enough minerals, for instance, then your enzymes won't work, and you won't be able to create enzymes, cofactors, to create actually things. Inside the cell, you have different parts, compartments, and they are in charge of creating whatever thing is needed. Ribosomes, in the mitochondria, you create energy. To create energy, to create cofactors, enzymes, and stuff, you need something in exchange. It's like in the real world. When you go to the shop, you cannot go to the shop, take 3 tomatoes and 2 carrots, and then go home. No, that could be perfect, but that's not the way it is. You have to go. You have to go. So actually, you have to move your arms from your sofa to the shop, and then you have to pay for the stuff. You have to pick the stuff, go to the till, pay for the stuff, go home again, and prepare the stuff. So you have a cost involved.
Hmm.
Same in our body. So in order to create energy, we need not only the carbs or the fatty acids to create the energy, but also we need vitamins. Vitamin B1, B2, B3, B5, they are essential to create energy. We also need CoQ10, for instance. Vitamin C is also needed, etc. And that's only for energy. And then if you want to create an enzyme, for instance, or any other thing, you have again to pay. And maybe you need chrome, or maybe you need, I don't know, zinc or selenium, for instance, for your immune system. The more important minerals are selenium and zinc, and they are really trendy nowadays with COVID stuff. In all supplements for immunity, you will find zinc and selenium because they work together. They are cofactors. That means that they are needed to work perfectly, um, alongside with vitamin C. But the thing is that everything has a cost involved, and you cannot only see at one nutrient in particular isolated. You have to consider the whole picture because they all work together synergistically within the cell, within the body. They won't dissociate. It's like, okay, I'm here now. I'm used. No.
I love how you are explaining that everything has a cost, because now I'm thinking about the holidays, right? Like all the stress, all the emotional stress, all the
Mm-hmm.
preparation, the buying gifts and food and this and that, and we feel like, okay, let's keep going, but we don't take that mindful break to be like, all right, I am putting all this energy out. I am having this energetic impact in myself.
Mm-hmm.
How can I just appease and become balanced with my body and my
Mm-hmm.
chemical reactions happening inside of me? And that's something that most of us don't think about. Oh, today I've been so stressed. No, we don't think about, okay, what can I eat? What can I drink? What can I consume? What can I practice to give back to my body, right? And because then once we have the pathology or once we have a pain, it's just sometimes, I mean, it's too late because now we're suffering. So if we practice healthy style, then we might be able to avoid that, right?
100%, Anmu. Yeah, that's really frustrating, because that is actually what should be, but then it's really hard to follow that way. If you are not conscious, if you are not aware of that. If you are not aware of that, then you are not listening to your body, and you are losing that connection, and you don't know what your body is in need of. and that would be perfect. Like if you are able to think that you are having like if you are using a lot of energy, and then you need to replenish that energy and those nutrients, and you look after yourself, with empathy, from a self-care perspective, everything would be different, because probably our choices could be different as well. Because in that case, you will be able to understand that your body maybe could prefer, I don't know, I'm gonna make it up, a salad full of antioxidants and vitamin C and vitamin B, which are needed for the nervous system support and also for immunity, and maybe a piece of protein. But our choice is to go straight for the carbs, for instance, or for processed food, because they are going to calm us down. But
Yeah, I
that's
was
not
going
the
to ask you,
appropriate choice.
why is the instant gratification with happiness when you have a sweet tooth or sweet teeth that you go for the muffin and not for the apple? What is
Yeah,
that
because
chemical reaction that we don't pay attention to?
that's a great question, and that is a difficult question also to ask, because there are a lot of things involved underneath that question.
Hmm.
Um, there is also a lot of mindset in that,
Hmm.
and also when you are prioritizing those foods over other foods that they don't trigger the, let's say, the sweet cravings, let's say. So when you are eating loads of sugary foods, then you are changing not only your microbiota, but also your hunger,
Oh,
how you call it?
response.
Exactly, your hunger responses. And they are also changed by your microbiota. And your microbiota, it's fed by what you put into your mouth.
Mm.
So if you eat
That is
certain stuff,
directly impacted to our immune system as well.
of course, yeah. Bacteria, microbiota, the flora, bacteria, they are, of course, involved with immunity. And we have for another whole episode on that if you want, because they are in charge of the whole gut immune system. And the gut immune system is 70% of the whole immune system. But that is a really complex stuff. And yeah, and we can be talking about that as well if you want. But the point is that you can modify your cravings and your food choices by the food that you are eating via a few mechanisms. First, your bacteria. Second, the signals that you are triggering. If you are eating sweet stuff, then there is a whole load of, it's a big process inside, triggered by some hormones like ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone. You also have other neurotransmitters involved. There is a lot of stuff going on, and it's really complex. But we can cover that if you want in a future episode. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah,
And then,
Christmas time.
yeah, of course. But the thing is that that is addictive.
Yes.
Sugary foods are addictive because they trigger those responses. So your hunger
You get
response
it
is
as a
going to be
drug.
confused.
Hmm.
Exactly. And also via your hunger response, it's going to be confused, and it's going to demand what makes it feels good, which may not be the thing that your body needs. And the good
Hmm.
news is that you can reprogram that as well. So you can little by little reprogram your food choices and also your microbiota. So when you are eating different food, then your microbiota, they are also able to synthesize different neurotransmitters, because our microbiota are connected. The gut is connected to the brain through a nerve. It's called the vagus nerve. It's really common as well. It's
Oh
very
yeah.
trendy.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
That's what I'm
It's like
suffering.
exactly. Yeah, that's really, we can be talking about the vagus nervus as well for a few hours if you want, because it's really important, and that's the connection between
Our
our
emotions.
digestive system and brain. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's huge.
Hmm.
That is insane. Yeah. So
So,
basically, yeah,
tell me, basically.
yeah, I was gonna say that basically, of course, the things that you are eating define the way that you are eating, and that is important, because if you, if you make a choice, a conscious choice, then your body will respond, you know.
So 5 ways. We already said many, over 5 ways to boost our immune system. But just to
Mhm.
wrap it up today, 5 ways. One could be the vitamins. And to list them again, you were telling me about the vitamin D, the vitamin C, the Bs. Which of the Bs should we or should we pay attention to?
All of the bees.
All of them.
I would say all of them, you know, and that would be easy just following a varied diet. You know, if you try to eat as many vegetables as you can, and if you try to eat a portion of protein with all your meals, and if you pick um, uh, what's the word? If you pick your carb sources wisely, according as well to your activity levels and to your situation and so on, then you will be covered. You know, it's really easy actually to get your nutrients from food. You don't have to spend a lot of money in supplements.
And you don't have
Uh,
to just focus on doing organic. You can also get those with no, like, without buying organic food, right? Some people are telling me, is this organic is so expensive? And
yeah,
so he said the whole thing. Well, I believe that the energy that we put in our food makes is as healer as the quality of our food. In terms of, if I cannot afford getting an organic lettuce or tomato, just get a regular one, and I feel that this is amazing, and this is just like power to my body. The
that's great. That's
it's
great.
belief, because we heal when we start believing, and if we start
Yeah,
believing that this is just the thing, it's gonna happen. And some
yeah,
people were telling me about the water, like just like tap the water and give good things, good thoughts, and good words. I feel it's the same thing for food and for everything that we put. Aside of
yeah.
sugar, the sugar, we know that that's addictive. So
Yeah,
a
in
marathon.
here, yeah, I understand your point and I agree with it. And in here, what I normally do with my clients and with my patients, it's this. So if you can afford organic food,
Go
go
for it.
for that
Yeah.
because, of course, it's going to be the best. It's
Hmm.
free of pesticides and chemicals and stuff.
Hmm.
If you cannot afford organic food, at least try to control the quality of your proteins. So try to pick
Ah,
free range when possible, or maybe organic or grass fed
that's
stuff
right.
if you are eating meat, or wild caught fish if you eat fish. And that would be the priority over vegetables if you cannot afford the whole pack. And if you even if you cannot even afford good quality proteins, then in that case, fresh stuff is going to be better than processed stuff. So it's better to eat conventionally raised meat, fish, eggs, and conventional vegetables than eating, for instance, processed stuff and junk
I
food.
love this. I
So
love how we can prioritize, and we can compromise in a sense based on our possibility. I love that scale.
yeah, like for from all these years of experience, Almu, it's like I have learned that you have to personalize. You know, like everyone is different. Maybe for some people it's really hard to have access to high quality food. Well, in that case, let's try to do the best with your options, with your possibilities. If you can't afford that, go for that. That would be the best. You know, and of course, as you said, like what you put in your mouth is what you are.
Yes.
That is, you know, what you put in your mouth is what makes your cells, your hormones, your proteins, your stuff. So if you have
I
to
love
pick
it because you're
wisely.
all about what you put in your mouth is what you are, and I'm like, what you put in your mind is what you become.
That's it. We have it.
The solution of the problem. Okay.
Fixed. Problem fixed.
Okay, so we have three things. We have
Yeah.
vitamins or type of food, and
Uh-huh.
then exercise.
Exercise is a must. Then looking after your mind.
Hmm.
That is important as well. So if you can, like we've said, journal or have some time for yourself, doing some meditation or breathing exercises, maybe some yoga or stuff like that, that would be really, really, really great. That would be amazing, actually. And then if you can avoid toxins, like for instance, in your skin, like if you can avoid, chemicals like perfumes, stuff like that. Um, Many of the products that we put in our skin, they are filled of petroleum stuff, chemicals that they are any good for us. So my recommendation in here would be to first not change stuff, but be conscious about what we put in our skin. So maybe track the products that you put into your skin and read the labels. Like be curious about your health. Take a look at the labels for a month if you want. Sorry, or if you go to the supermarket, go and take a look at the products that you normally buy and take a look. What is in there?
And if
Is there a
anybody is
way?
watching this and you have any questions, we can always ask Christina. Leave a comment, and we can ask Christina, "What's this?"
Exactly, of course. That would be, one of the best things, that the best advice I can give, because sometimes people, they don't make the connection, that we think that it's only uh, the way I handle stress, or it's only the way I'm eating, but there are also other factors that they are affecting our immunity. Of course, chemicals and stuff, it's a huge one. Yeah.
Yeah, and to be very aware, one thing that I loved about this conversation today is be aware of our stress and
Yeah.
adrenaline, because how we process anxious thoughts, stress, adrenaline, it creates a lot of chemical reactions that activate our immune system. And right now, perhaps we feel that we're okay, but in the long term, when by the time that we become older and have more money to enjoy, that's where all the health problems come up at once, and our lifespan shrinks. And so, give ourselves the gift of tomorrow, right? By being more mindful and healthy.
That's a super nice message. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so, with that, if you are the watcher, who are watching, tell us in the comment from where are you watching, hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. And if you need anything, I invite you, everybody, to follow us on Instagram at Algo Corazon and Cristina Guerrero underscore. There's no the underscore over there, so I apologize for that. Let me see. And at Think Corazon. And with this, Christina, is there anything that you would love to add? Because I feel that you gave us such a great information today.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I think it's a lot to cover, and you know that I start speaking and then it's like never ending. So if somebody wants
Like
to
this.
go deeper into anything, yeah, well, I hope so. I will be more than happy to cover those things in more detail. Or if you are interested in something that we have covered today and you want us to be talking about that in particular for a whole live, of course, I'll be more than happy to do that.
Yes,
I know
we
that you too.
accept everything. Well, not everything, but talking to
Yeah,
you. But definitely
likewise.
on Friday, yes. On Friday, we're going to be doing the same. We're going to be covering the same topic in Spanish, and we
Hmm.
are hoping to make it work also on and being able to stream it on Instagram. So let us know from where you're watching also as well. Not only the location in
Yep.
terms of your country or city, town, whatever it is, but also through which social media are you tuning in, because that's going to
Hmm.
help us to know if we're doing an amazing job to get this extraordinary free information to you. And we would love to be of support. It's totally free. Join the conversation. And if you want to be part of the conversation, also let us know, and we would love to have you talking with us about it.
Yeah.
All
Tell
right?
us.
And with these
Lovely.
big kisses, Christina, I love you. Thank you very much for joining us.
My
And
pleasure.
see you on the social media. Mwah, mwah. Bye.
See you soon. Bye, guys.